You know, this mute button in OBS is ridiculous. Hey everybody, welcome on in. Just feverishly trying to get a few things set up here behind the curtain, but I figured, hey, instead of making you all wait, I'd just come chat with you while I was doing that. Welcome on in, welcome to stream. I see some familiar faces from KCU, but not from the stream, so it was sure was an audio mistake. No, you're good, it was just me. It was just Jeff. It does happen from time to time. So the fun fact, the volume mute button in OBS is very tiny and easy to think that you clicked and not actually click. But yeah, so here we are, guys. Let's talk about it. The first thing I want to say out of my mouth tonight is congratulations, everybody. For those of you who are watching tonight who maybe don't know, Tuesday was the launch of the Let's Go comic anthology from Kids Comics Studio / Kids Comics Unite, our first ever anthology. We've spent a year as a team of like 40-ish people. The number kind of grows and shrinks. We spent a year working on this thing. The Kickstarter launched Tuesday, and overnight we funded it. So it's so exciting. This book is happening, and we're very, very glad. So we're all in a pretty celebratory mood. Yeah, it's pretty awesome stuff. Yeah, so I'm curious, what is going on with my OBS here, or my stream elements? There should be... Sorry, just checking some stuff on my overlay. Let me check something real quick. Just real quick. Because, yep, that's what happened. Okay. Just a second. I was noticing a few things were looking a little bit wonky with my setup tonight, and it turns out Stream Elements logged me out. So I'm going to just fix that real quick before we get rolling tonight. But yeah. Yeah, while we're here, how you guys doing? Thanks for joining, by the way. It's nice. It's awesome seeing you guys here, and I really appreciate it. I'm just gonna be kind of bantering here, chatting about Let's Go for a little bit before Sarah's able to join in. This is like gonna be my first stream where I haven't primarily done art, so that's kind of exciting. A little bit change of pace. Okay, where are you? There we go. Okay. Six. Okay. Okay. This should be better. Now I'm just gonna test something. This will confirm if it worked. Don't mind. Hey, there we go. All right, now emotes will show up in the chat window. That was really what I was here for. That's really what we're all here for. Definitely worth it. It's a good night now. We're all set. We're all set. All the Sarahs on the West Coast make me stay up late. You know, it's nice that I'm kind of naturally a little bit of a night owl. Oh, you're ready? Yeah, cool, awesome. All right. So, full disclosure, I am gonna have to grab the Discord windows, so bear with me for a second while I do that. Let's So we'll do start a video call. So this is, for those of you who are watching this, this is my first time doing this on Discord, so and sharing it into OBS, so you're gonna see it. Can you hear me okay, Sarah? I can hear you. I'm gonna, okay. Give me 1 second. So right now it's just, I don't think everyone else can hear you. Can you guys hear Sarah at all? Because that's intentional at the moment. To give me time to chat like I add all this stuff in. Not yet? Okay. All right. Yeah, yeah, so what I'm gonna do is this. All right. Give me just a second to get this resized. Oh, this is, yeah, this is awesome. This is, it's really happening, guys. Okay, so I'm gonna test this out, and we're gonna see if you guys can hear everything. So I'm gonna hop over. You will not see me yet, but Sarah is there. Sarah, wave to all the people.
Hello, everyone.
Are you able to hear Sarah and me? Excellent. Okay. All right. We're just. Yeah. So it turns out.
I was just fun with the delay.
Oh,
watching myself in 2 different windows. I'm like, whoa! I just did that a moment ago.
Yeah, that's yeah, I don't actually usually have the stream up on another monitor. I'm just staring at like the OBS window when I look at anything. Cause wait a minute, that's not what I wanted. Hold on. I swear I will be joining you here in just a second. Okay. Just a second, we're almost there. All right. Hey, look, I'm here, guys. It's really real.
We're doing the thing.
Frank. So everyone say hi to Frank, by the way. Frank is a staple here on stream. He's a moderator and also a fellow comics creator.
Hello, Frank.
So let me bring the volume down. All right. I think we are in pretty good shape here. So thank you for bearing with that, Sarah.
Okay.
While I get this stuff figured out.
No, I mean, it's my fault. I hopped in before you were expecting me.
Oh, that's okay.
Told my kid he could go to bed with Dad tonight and not bother me. So
no worries. It's been a bit of a packed night. So yeah, it's good to have you here. Welcome, and thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
I turn down the music in the background so we can hear. All right. There we go. Yeah, so hey, I was just talking about the anthology, talking a little bit about the fact that we are fully funded on the project.
Super exciting.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. I was really hopeful that we'd get there within 24 hours, but I was also still so excited to see it happen.
Yeah, I mean, I was just hopeful we'd get there at all, so it's 24 hours. I was like, great, super, we can relax now. Yeah. Now it's just for funsies.
Just kick the feet up.
Yep, just chill.
Bert, I posted a note about it, but I didn't make it a KCU community event. Maybe I could do that for future ones. Oh, thanks, Frank. Yeah, so one of the things that really good moderators like Frank do is create commands and share links in chat like that. So anybody who's watching, if you are interested in the anthology and you don't know about it already, you can follow that link and check it out. If you would like to support the project, we would very much appreciate it. We are still working on some stretch goals for the project, and also benefiting some charitable causes as well. So even though we're all the way funded, if you're interested in the project, please, get yourself a copy and help support us.
Absolutely. I'm posting the Twitch on my Facebook and stuff.
Usually I stream until about midnight Eastern time, but we don't have to go that long, Sarah. I understand that life is busy, so I'm not going to force you to stay here for that whole time.
Oh no, I mean it's early here on the West Coast, so whatever. I don't really have anything else going on.
Oh, we're right in your prime time, aren't we?
Yeah, exactly. So usually this is like kid bedtime. My husband's dealing with that. So,
Yeah.
I'm not missing anything. I don't know. We would go up and watch Bob's Burgers or something, but
Nice.
I think that can wait.
Good deal. Okay. Well, just let me know if you ever, if at any point you need to run, but I'm happy to hang here and chat a little bit.
Right on.
All right, perfect, Bert. Thank you so much for doing that. I appreciate it. Jeff's a 2-hour streamer. Sometimes I go extra. We'll do a little art review with Frank. He'll share his comic work as well. For anybody who isn't a part of the KCU community, who may not know you, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Me, right. I'm here to talk about myself. I'm kind of new to the kid lit arena. Kind of had my midlife crisis in early 2020 before everything kind of shut down. I decided to move into kid lit, kind of turn down my architecture career, which is what I studied for, and start making picture books. And so I have been, since then, really on a deep dive learning. I got an agent on the basis of a picture book manuscript and art that I did. And then I was working on a project that I could not fit into a picture book. And my critique groups were so tired of critiquing this book that did not fit into a picture book. And one of them said, "Hey, I'm sorry to tell you this, but I think this is a graphic novel." And I was like, well, I don't know anything about graphic novels, so it can't be a graphic novel. But then I realized she was right, and it is a graphic novel. And so I started reading a lot of graphic novels and learning about graphic novels, and I hopped over into KCU and took the intensive. And yeah, now I'm kind of here. I'm kind of here making a lot of comics, and I can't stop. So that's kind of it. I'm learning, making books. One of the co-students in KCU, Marie Ventura, who goes by Rowena Zanre as a pen name, she and I self-published 3 32-page graphic novels about kids solving problems with scientific method last year, and we went to Comic-Con as a result of our Kickstarter. So right now I'm working on a whole bunch of projects with people, kind of speculative projects, and the anthology, which, hooray, the anthology's funded.
Yeah, I was going to say, one of the things that amazes me about you is just you're prolific. You've jumped in like fully into this arena and produced so much, and it's really incredible.
Thanks.
I
mean, it has a lot to do with not having a lot of perfectionism, or I've overridden my former perfectionism, and so I make things and I toss them out, and we see what happens.
That is such a skill to be able to just to jump in and do that. And actually we have one of your comics that was in here, Comics from the Kitchen. This was
you have it. Hooray!
Another anthology that you did. Yeah. In fact, when I mentioned, because you did this one, the birthday cake.
Yes.
I mentioned to my kids, like, I was talking to you on stream tonight. She's like, "Oh, say hi to birthday cake, Sarah."
Yeah, birthday. I like that. That's better than just initials.
Well, it's funny.
We'll tell her hi.
Will do, absolutely. And also, it's funny because then the Sarah Giles, who is also here in chat, she calls her Gummy Bear Sarah because of
Okay.
gummy bear earrings. Um,
Sure.
so now we have birthday cake Sarah and Gummy Bear Sarah
We're both
in our
sugary.
house.
That'll do.
It takes me 2 to 3 weeks minimum to finish a strip. I saw that, Frank. Frank is very fast. Frank is pretty incredible at creating comics, and he creates really enjoyable stuff. He does a strip called Loosey Goosey over on Instagram.
Okay, I'm gonna have to look it up now.
But
Loosey goosey.
yeah, and let me know if you want to share anything. I will have to grab that screen and adjust the Discord there for a second. But if there's anything you'd like to share, you're welcome to do that.
Okay.
But you don't have to.
Yeah, no, I mean I can or I don't have to. I can share I have my Nikki and Ricky webpage up, so I can share that if y'all want to see it for a moment.
Okay. Let me just
Wait, where'd it go?
adjust on the fly real quick here, so that I'm grabbing things correctly and getting the whole window. So,
Okay.
sorry. Just a
No,
moment while
no
Jeff
worries.
figures his stuff out.
Yeah, I told my partner that I was going to be on live stream, and he was like, what? Like, we don't even know how to do that. We're such Luddites. We're like late adopters to all the technology. So he's
Well,
going,
what-
what are you doing? That's crazy. My kid's like, that's cool, Mom. Live streamers are awesome. Are you going to get rich? And I'm like, not tonight, babe.
No, I'm sorry, I cannot provide that.
I did not expect it. It is fine.
But that's the one thing just as you kind of took the deep dive on comics, I've kind of dove in here over the last couple of years and learned a whole lot. It's fun. We have fun here. Would you say so, Frank? I think we have fun here. Bert, you're glad it took
Long hesitation.
Bert, your comic came out great, by the way. I
Yeah.
just want to say, Bert's comic is one of the ones that was the sample pages featured on the Kickstarter page. And I'm going to be bringing Bert on stream here in the future.
Which will be awesome.
Frank doesn't have fun here. He's held hostage.
But he keeps coming back.
He keeps coming back.
Oh, the hostage part. I missed the hostage part. Yep. Yep. Oh, well. Well, so be it, man. Yes, so that's the website. We started this project, The Adventures of Nikki and Ricky, as practice. She is a writer only, and I do both, but I was feeling really... Writing and drawing my own stuff felt really stressful because I would want to draw, but then I would want to revise, and I want to draw, and then I would want to revise. So I really wanted to work from somebody else's material that I wasn't so attached to. And so she wrote something she wasn't very attached to, and then we had a lot of fun with it. So we ended up making 3 little books and kickstarting them. And as part of the Kickstarter, I ended up making a comic workbook for kids that follows basically the scientific method and then Rivka Lafie's kind of story method that she taught in the intensive. So we've got this cool little workbook that kids can use to solve their own science mystery or science question in a comics format. So we're really proud of them, and we kind of put them out with the intention of them being fast and not overthinking them, and we definitely did that. So they're here, they exist, and then we met in person at the San Diego Comic-Con last year and had a really great time. So that was a really fun project we did.
That is so cool. Yeah. And also going to Comic-Con, what was that experience like?
Oh, that was wild. I mean, I had, for one thing, I'm still really shielding from COVID. I have long COVID, and so like I don't want to get that again because it makes me really ill. So I haven't been to a place like Comic-Con since before 2020. Wow. I have been basically holed up in my house, with, friends and stuff. I go to the grocery store once in a while, but like, I can't. It was so many people and just so many things and so much art and so many books. It was definitely overwhelming, but it was really, really fun. We went to a lot of panels. We met up with Patrick Lugo and who else? Brigida Blair and someone else. And I'm sorry, someone else. I remember your face and your name is escaping me right now because it's the end of the day. But we got to meet a bunch of other kids comics people, and I found it really inspiring because there was one panel we went to. There was a lot of well-known people, and Marie was really irritated because they were just making a bunch of in-jokes, and they were kind of talking to each other. They were all obviously friends. And she was like, "Oh, I really wanted to hear more about the comics process." But when I was thinking about it, I felt it really inspiring because it was obvious that they had all helped each other through their careers. They had all known each other when they were getting started. They had done things like this anthology. They had done things like, meeting randomly and becoming friends at these events. And, it made me feel like we're in the right place doing the right thing to build a career. And, maybe it's a little while off, but
Yeah,
we're doing
absolutely.
the right thing.
Like that's one of the things I love when you see like a lot of the SCBWI, so Society for Children's Book Writers and Illustrators. For those of you who don't know, a lot of their events, like a lot of these well-known kids, authors, illustrators, they'll be giving their presentations and they'll have at the end like pictures of them with their critique group over the years, and it's like it's amazing, like these communities, how they come together, how everyone helps each other out and really pushes each other to be better.
Yep. Yep. And looks out for opportunities for each other, I think, because there's always going to be something that I'm not the right person for, but I probably know somebody at this point, and that's really exciting too, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of critique groups, by the way, full disclosure, Sarah and I and Ashley are in a critique group together. Bert's in there as well. Originally, we were going to try to get Bert in on this as well and kind of have a mini critique group jam session. We may do one of those in the future if everybody's game as well. But
I'd be down.
I think that's one of the best pieces of advice I can give is to people, like find a critique group, find people to share your work with that you trust. Because not all critique is good critique, and it took me a really long time to learn that. I kind of just like assumed that I don't really know what I'm doing, and if someone tells me to do something, I'm like, oh, okay, I messed up, I got it. But I'm working on learning that part better.
Oh no, I think I'm really enjoying this critique group. I've been in a bunch, and they kind of come and go. I was in one with Sarah Giles for a while, which was really good, and people just, I think we all kind of ran out of project for a little bit. We didn't have much to talk about, so we petered out. But we should get it started again, Sarah G,
Yeah.
or at least check in sometime.
I think it's good sometimes to revive old critique groups.
Yeah, even just for a hangout session.
Sarah's chatting here. She got into an absolute tailspin with too much critique. And you actually helped by doing a cold read for her and helped pull her out of it.
Oh yeah, that was a fun one. It was a good story. It turned out really good.
It is fun having other people read your stuff too. Like those cold reads are really, really helpful.
Yes, they really are.
Actually, you have one of the best attitudes that I have like ever heard about handling like critique and feedback. And I was wondering if you wanted to share a little bit about that.
Oh, well, sure. I think it's born of kind of blood, sweat, and tears. I went to architecture school at Carnegie Mellon, which is a program that is known for grade deflation. So, like when you go to grad school out of that program, the advisor typically writes a letter explaining that grades are significantly deflated and not to compare them to people at not to compare them to efforts where people are getting A's at Ivies or whatever, because we deflate the grades. We're not nice to you here. So so this was a brutal program. We had more than 50% attrition. And the kind of attitude there was that you would work on a big project, you would have over a full semester, and there would be probably weekly critiques with your studio group, but then a midterm critique and a final critique that was in front of the entire program. and all of the professors. And you would stand up there and talk about something that you had been working on for months. That was your entire final grade in the biggest class of the program, right? The most important class of the program. And they would just stand there and rip you to shreds. They would ask you questions and they would be like, well, that doesn't make any sense. I remember standing up there in front of the group being told that I probably didn't belong in the program and maybe should have thought about engineering because there was no aesthetic to what I had done, and it looked just like an engineering project.
That is rough. Oh my gosh.
No, I mean, like really, really, like people would walk out of there in tears pretty regularly. And so, you know, it was a 5-year program. And so by the end of that, I had really developed a thick skin, but also a way of separating myself from my work. And it turns out that for a career in architecture, that was actually really helpful. Like, I don't think they were doing it to be cruel. They were doing it because in architecture, you are not really designing for yourself unless you're Frank Gehry. You know, you're not, unless you're one of these like star architects. Most of us are designing for other people who need something very specific and don't have your taste and are going to tell you pretty regularly, yeah, no, that's not what I want. I'm not going to spend a giant pile of money on that. That's not it at all. And so, so that, you know, since, you know, I'm in my 40s now, and since I was, you know, 18 years old, everything I was putting out there was kind of has been subject to that sort of veto power. And so it's actually a change to be in Kidlit and to really have to rely on my own opinions to decide what project to go next. You know, I'm really glad I have an agent now and I can throw things in front of her, because one of my stopping points is always like, I'm so used to having a client tell me what's next. Then when it's just me, I'm like, I don't know. I don't know which of these is any good.
What do I want to do? What feel? Yeah.
What do I? Well, does it matter what I want to do? I don't know.
That's such an interesting question too, because I know that trying to work and get work published in Kidlit is hard. But also at the same time, if you don't have that sort of special sauce of like what is meaningful to you, it's more likely that your work is going to fall flat anyway in front of an agent, in front of an editor.
Right. And so that has actually been a challenge for me, because I have built up this wall, because I have kind of learned to separate myself. It's now I have to put it back in. And I have to say, oh, actually, I do have to really care about this project. I do have to put all the emotions in this. And yet I still have to not cry when somebody says they don't want it. So this is where I'm at now, is kind of unlearning some things and trying to merge them into a healthy, workable situation.
I love this. So there's the really common phrase in Kidlit of the sometimes you have to kill your darlings. Like about like having to, you know, take the things that even that you really love that meant something to you, but take them out because they don't make the story work. But Sarah Giles actually had a really good adaptation of that. It was like, sometimes you have to kill your darlings, then stuff them in the closet to resurrect them later as something else. And
yeah, zombie projects.
Because usually if they're your darlings, it's because there's something very meaningful in it, right? To you. And there's something that speaks to you, and you can use that oftentimes somewhere else.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's a really good point.
Oh, yeah. How do you maintain that balance? Like, you know, you're mentioning it's been tough. Like, are there any like suggestions you have to maintain that balance of like keeping enough emotional distance from your work to be able to take critique well, but also being able to still find yourself in it?
I mean, again, I would think critique groups, you know, I know you all looked at the picture book that's out on Sub right now. You all looked at it when I thought it was ready, and very gently were like, actually, there's not enough, like, you know, you could hear the emotion in it. Bert asked to see the first draft, which was super messy, and was like, oh, here's the heart of it. You know, here's the emotion in it. So sometimes I do have to have other people tell me like, oh, this is where I feel it. This is where you hit it. And then I'm better able to pull things back in. So again, I think it's just the collaboration and you know, having people you trust, and being able to filter through what works for you and what doesn't. And I think that's just a matter of practice.
Yeah, that's a good point, I think. So by the way, I always think you give really good critique.
Oh, thank
Your
you.
pointers are always really useful, very constructive. You haven't yet put either Ashley or I in tears. So thank you for that.
Well, so part of being in that program that put everybody in tears is that I was able to practice, because part of the critique was us critiquing our peers. So so not only was I receiving that critique, but I was practicing giving it. So I'm glad I've managed to find a nicer way to do it, because
So my challenge is that
right.
my superpower is liking things. I'm really good at finding what I like about something. I'm really good at telling somebody what I felt like worked about something. But I oftentimes have a hard time finding things to say to improve. Like, how do you approach like looking at someone else's work to be able to give that kind of critique? That
I try to pay attention to where I pause and reread, because often that means I'm a very fast reader, and if I'm pausing and rereading something, it means something wasn't clear to me. And so I try to pay attention to that and try to understand what was I missing, what, is that because of the story, or was I not reading carefully? And then that often will give me a kernel of like, oh, even if it's just like a line that drew my eye to the wrong speech bubble, or a phrase that I couldn't quite tell who was saying it, or the voice seemed off. Anything that makes me pause when I'm reading is usually a place where there's some improvement possible.
That's a really good point. I think that kind of notice what's tripping you up.
And it doesn't mean that the thing is bad. Usually it just means that there's something that the author knows that they haven't put on the page for whatever reason.
By the way, Bert's over here in chat saying, wow, Jeff, you make me feel like a dark side critiquer. Bert, you have not put either of us in tears either. Nobody present here has put any of us in tears.
No, we've all been doing very good together. Bert, you were the one who fixed that picture book for me. Like, if that picture book gets published, it is because of the critique you gave when I thought it was ready and it wasn't. So please don't underestimate yourself. I actually have a really hard time critiquing work that I don't like, because I get bored and then I'm just like, eh. Like, if it's too bad, if I read something and it's bad, I just don't want to spend my time critiquing it. So that's where my challenge comes in, is if I fall into a group that, I'm not impressed with the work, or the work doesn't resonate with me, I have a really hard time with that, which is not the case in our critique group. So I always have something to say. Frankie, you asked if there's anything that cross over from architecture. Yeah, there's a ton. I mean, when I was in architecture, I really loved to draw. That was a big part of it. I was one of the last classes to use hand drafting and drafting tables with, your micron pens and your line weights. And I loved that part of it. So I would say that the hand drawing, understanding line weight, understanding how to put together a package that's graphic and legible, thinking about projects in the long term with revisions and how to save your work at one stage. I think one of the biggest things that I've learned as a kind of a working architecture professional is that you don't want to put too much effort in early, because the revision is going to happen. And if you make something that's finished too soon, there's so much else to fix. And so I think that's the case with comics as well, is to keep it rough and loose early, and then not put anything in stone until you're really ready to put it in stone. Yeah, I would say those are certainly crossovers. Also, I learned how to do perspective. I learned classical perspective drawing, so that makes drawing backgrounds much easier. A lot of people hate that. I didn't learn to draw people, so that's a challenge. But, I can construct a perspective with pencil.
See, I was always the kid who was super into like the comic book or video game concept art character drawing, so I would only draw the characters and never the backgrounds. Okay. So that's been a bit of a learning arc for me.
That was really why I wanted to work with Marie, because I wanted to practice drawing the same characters over and over, because I was just frankly very lousy at it. I'm getting better. I'm certainly not the best and never will be, but I'm getting more comfortable with it at least.
Well, so what's interesting to me, especially in the medium of comics, is like there's not a clear cut best. Like it's always does the figure express the idea, and does it flow the right way, and that's it. Like it doesn't, there's no necessarily like award for like the most realistic comic. If it doesn't read well, it doesn't matter.
Right. And that's actually what I told. I did a like career day class in my kids' third grade last year, and I brought in a copy of Dogman, and they were all like, "Oh, are you famous like Dogman?" I was like, "No, no, no, I'm not." But but I was like, look at my book, and my people are maybe more realistic than Dogman, but Dogman is better. Dogman's famous and I'm not, and these are stick figures. And nobody, like, if you just showed somebody this stick figure, you would not say this is a good drawing. It's, it's pretty goofy, but it tells you what you need to know. Mm-hmm. And so I'm trying to keep that in my head also.
I mean, it's a good point from Sarah Giles in chat. Like, famous is not always better.
No.
I will get up on a soapbox and talk about, how great I think Dave Pilkey's work is, and I love the ideas that he embeds in it and all that.
100%.
That's
and
not
it's so much
thing.
more. It's so much more. Like, there's so much more in there than you would think just by skimming it. Like, Big Petey and Little Petey, that relationship is just, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. There's just so much stuff that he works in, and the way he ties it together. Like, and his storytelling is really, really good. But
it is, and it's funny, and it's fresh.
He's been working, for decades, so he's very much polished his skill set.
Yeah, he knows what he's doing. Sarah G asked how I balance my collaborations, commissions, personal work, and family. Well, I have ADHD, so I hop from one to the other as the squirrel demands. I have been chronically ill for the last 5 years, and I got on disability last summer. And so that's helped a lot because I am not working anywhere close to full time anymore. Before that, I was freelancing and trying to make a real grown up income. And so I've been able to let off on that, and that's been helping me with time for the collaborations. And yeah, everything else is kind of squirrely. It's a little bit like whatever's grabbing my attention today. I like to have multiple projects going on, which is why I became a freelancer in architecture anyway. I like to have lots of projects that wrap up. If I'm bored of one day, I can hop over to something else. And I just kind of let my unruly little brain make itself more or less happy. And luckily, I have people I work with who will send me an email and be like, "Hey, when's this thing going to get ready?" And I'll be like, "Ooh, oh yeah, that thing. Okay, now I have urgency, so I can finish this in 2 days." So
the urgency,
nothing workable or professional. I'm sorry.
No, that's very identifiable to me. The need of the urgency. You can have the best intent of starting something early, and then it just doesn't, for whatever reason. You can put yourself in front of it as many times as you want, but it's not until like the urgency kicks in that it really, all your brain suddenly goes boom.
Yep. No, and I have one that a page I just finished I finished inking for one of Marie's stories that I want to help her pitch to my agent because I think it's really good. And I had put together a bunch of pages ages ago, and then I just stopped, and I didn't remember until I opened it why I had stopped halfway through this page. It was cars. It was an aerial view of basically a traffic jam. And cars are not like, I don't have a mental image of cars in my head, and I didn't want to. And I opened it up, I was like, oh, this is why I stopped. So I had to I did go back. This is another one of my architecture skills. I hopped over into SketchUp because I learned a lot of 3D modeling with the architecture, and so I was able to hop over into SketchUp and find some cars and position them and take some screenshots so I could have a little tracing reference. So that was nice. Getting through the cars page.
So I want to circle back to the 3D stuff in a second, but I before that I wanted to say the hardest part for me in scenes like that is just the sheer number of decisions that you have to make. Like what kind of
Right.
car should this be? What kind of car should that be? What
Yes.
color should it be? It matters, but it also doesn't matter. Like,
Right. No, exactly. It's like, there has to be a variation. It has to look good. But again, it's background. So yeah, this was great. I found a SketchUp model that had like 8 or 9 different cars in it. And so I just lined them up in different orders. And then I was
nice.
able to
That's
be like pickup truck, hatchback, Volkswagen Beetle, not too many of those. That would look weird.
just all Beatles. That would
Yeah.
be
Yeah. My dad's dream. He would love that.
so. Coming back to the 3D modeling, I'm. It's been a bit since I've had time to jump back to Clip Studio Cafe, which is one of the groups that Kids Comic Studio holds. They meet weekly to talk about, kind of tools of the trade with Clip Studio Paint.
Hmm.
But when I
Well,
was
it's
last
not meeting currently right now. I think it's been in a little lull for the last couple months.
okay, I mean I know that Jeff, the host for that, is very busy with the anthology stuff, and
Yeah.
maybe that's
Yeah, we
why.
took a break. We took a break at the holidays and haven't picked back up, so
Gotcha.
that's
Um,
okay.
but one of the cool things was seeing all the work you were doing with creating models that could go into Clip Studio Paint, and also partnering with and supporting other creators by doing models for them.
Oh yeah, that's I would love for that to be part of my career because that was really fun. A couple people were talking about they were learning the modeling tools in Clip Studio, but they were having trouble with it. It's not a super robust modeler. It's not something I would do much in anyway. And I kind of mentioned, oh, I could knock that out in an hour. And they were like, well, can I throw you some money and will you make this room for me? Will you make this cabin for me? And I was like, yes, yes, that sounds great. So I was able to, parlay those old SketchUp skills into something else. That was really helpful too. Patricia Keeler is who I was working with on that.
Yeah,
So that was really fun.
it was really cool to see what you created there and see her being able to pull it in and work with it. Um, and like just for the consistency in the backgrounds and not having to like
100%. Not
yeah.
it's again, it's like you're talking about those decisions and even those memories. It's like, do I not? Then I don't have to skip back 8 pages
Mhm.
to see what was on that bookshelf because I'm going to put the model in.
Yeah. So when I was working on my anthology comic, and Frank and anyone who's on the stream watching me do that can vouch for this. I like, especially when I started doing things like coloring or inking, I had to constantly go back. And mine was just a 4-page comic, but like I had to keep going back to cross check my like what did I draw again? How did I do this part again? Like what was this
Hmm.
detail like? Um, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I really like there's a reference window in it's not in SketchUp, in Clip Studio that I've been really enjoying. Photoshop probably has one too, but you can drag in a page,
Hmm.
and then have it kind of sitting off to the side, and you can grab colors from it. So I use that a lot for my characters because again, that's the hardest thing for me to keep in my brain. So I I keep my character reference on hand because I like to be like, does this actually look? Is that right? No, that doesn't look like that character at all. I don't know who I'm drawing here, but
That's a really good reminder. I keep forgetting to use the subview tool. I done it. I like had a little while where I was in like a bit of a habit with it, but yeah. And also character design
great for
sheets.
coloring. It's great for coloring because you can set it to automatically pick the color when you tap on it.
Hmm.
So for character coloring, I love it because you don't have to have the palette or like use the eyedropper tool. You just click on the spot in the subview. I like how I'm sure everybody's really appreciating how I'm like waving my hands around here. I have Italian heritage. I do this.
I was gonna say if you use Clip Studio, you get it. You know what's going
Yeah,
on.
yeah.
Yeah, that would have saved me so much. That's a good reminder. Thank you.
Yeah, it is nice. It is a nice tool.
So Gummy Bear Sarah has a question for birthday cake Sarah.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, how do I think about my traditional work and my self-pub work? Um, I see synergy there because I think the self-pub work I've done has been more experimental, and I usually have not been self-pubbing with something that's like a closely held project. It's not like a lifelong dream, it's not super deep. And so I can practice with it without getting my feelings hurt if it doesn't get a good reception. The traditional work so far, what I have done are stories that do have a lot more personal energy in them. And not surprisingly, those are the ones my agent wants to traditionally publish. So, but I do think there's a big synergy because it's all learning, and the trad pub, the self pub, and going nowhere, just a project to do a project. Those are all helping me get more consistent with my character design. They're helping me with my speed. They're helping me understand how I like to pace. And all of that means that my next traditional project that I'm going to pitch to my agent is going to go faster. I'm going to have an easier time putting it together. And knowing that I could self-pub makes me feel less devastated if they don't go through. So the one picture book I have that's out on sub right now, I've had 2 passes from editors, and I was starting to feel kind of like, oh, I really thought this one was, I really feel good about it. It's one that I will self-pub if it doesn't get picked up, because I really care about it and I really want it to go out in the world. So I don't know if that quite answers the question, but I think so. There's definitely synergy.
So kind of tailing in on that, I know we were talking a little bit about Anthology comics. Did you want to tell us a little bit about what the comic that you contributed for the Anthology?
Yeah, that one, again, was kind of one, it wasn't something I'd been sitting on for a long time. When we started the Anthology, I had no idea what I was going to do because I don't usually work short. Never in my life have I been very good at working short, except in picture books because it's still a full arc. I don't know why. Short stories have never been my thing, but I had a dream. I had a really vivid dream that had the sense of running through a very hot, dry place carrying something precious and getting yelled at for wasting water, and then coming into a very dark, cool greenhouse space. And I was like, okay, I want to draw that. That was it was a cool series of images. And I really wanted to draw it, especially the big greenhouse. I really wanted to draw the big greenhouse. So then I started making up a story to go along with it, and workshopped it up and down. And it was from a dream, so it didn't make any sense to anyone except for me for a while. And just kind of kept picking at it until most people were like, "Okay, yeah, this kind of tracks." That's where I stopped.
Yeah, so I was lucky because we're in the critique group together that this is one of the few Anthology comics aside from my own that I actually got to see in advance. There's still a bunch of them that I haven't gotten to see yet, and I won't until like the book is actually in my hands.
Oh my gosh, I'm on the design team, so I got to see them all
that's right.
at early stage. At the first submittal phase, I got to see them all for a round of critique.
So you've seen like the whole progression.
Oh yeah, well, and I'm also putting them into the InDesign file, so yes.
Nice. That is really cool. How has it been working on your design team?
I love the design team. We've been really great. I mean, I don't know if it's just that we all have good taste or what, but we kind of bring things to the table, and we'll bring a couple options, and everybody is mostly just like, oh yeah, that one looks good. That's the one. We all go, okay, great, moving on. So the design team is a very low stress group.
Nice. That is always really helpful when it's just kind of that easy collaboration, that space. And you guys have been putting out like incredible stuff. Like, if for everybody else who doesn't know, I'm over on publishing committee. Ashley and I are on there, who kind of oversees everything. And every time design has had a decision for us to make that they brought us materials, it's been incredible. Everything. The cover came out of design team as well. Like it just...
I wasn't involved in that. That was all Anne Marie, but yeah. And she's great. Like, I can't speak highly enough of Anne Marie. She's fantastic.
Absolutely, yeah. She's one of those community members that I didn't really know that much about before the Anthology project, and like getting to actually interface a little bit more and see her work. It's just been really impressive.
Yeah, well, and she didn't even do a comic in the book, so I'm still not sure what she's working on comics wise, but she's a really talented designer and a good leader.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, well, hopefully if we do something like this again as a group, we'll get to see some more of her work. That would be really awesome as well.
Yeah. I would love that.
Yeah, so, I know we kind of talked a little bit about what you've been working on, some of the things you've gotten out, your anthology comic. What are you looking to do next?
Oh, that's the big question, isn't it? I'm not sure. I've got a bunch of collaborations happening right now that so I've got I've got some spec art I'm working on with Marie that I would like to pitch to my agent, see if she can get picked up. I'm working on a webcomic project based on the book banning comic I did for Pitch Fest that you guys saw in the group.
Mm-hmm.
I'm working with that author, so we're hoping to launch a webcomic in June.
Oh, nice.
So I'll be drawing that. I want to get ahead of the game because a comic every week is not likely. So I want to get a few weeks ahead so I can stretch it out. What else am I working on? Gosh, we've got the anthology. We've got the zine club and/or possibly low-key zines that we're working on with Bert, which might be more short stories. But really, I'm kind of noodling around. I'm not sure what's going to go to my agent next. I don't know what's going to be my big like heart project quite yet. I have a young adult project that I've been sitting on. And every couple of years, I pick it up and put it down, and it was a novel, but maybe now it's a graphic novel. And so, if that's ready, it'll be that. But I don't know. I'll have to I have to sit down with it and see if I know what it's about yet.
It's funny. This reminds me of something you said earlier about how you got into graphic novels. Like you had a story that just wouldn't fit in any other format. It's funny because that's exactly how Ashley and I got into the space as well. And we never set out to do it. Although if I look back, I was always making comics, even from
right. Like it all makes sense for sure.
Like, oh, why didn't I? But at the same time, it was like, yeah, it took us to having a story. We were trying to work more in picture books as well, and it took us like running into a story that like just wouldn't fit. That's really funny. Oh, this is a good question from Sarah Giles.
Yeah. If I knew I would make $1 million for my next piece, what would I do different? Oh, I think it would mostly be about focus. It would be, there would be more no's coming out of my mouth. Right now I'm still in the place where, just by being on disability, that's not very much money. So when somebody calls me, I've had a couple, I have a bunch of clients. I was freelancing since like 2012. So I have a lot of people that I know and that come back to me at random moments. And I've had a couple of those in the last couple of weeks. And, I don't necessarily want to go measure a house for an edition next Friday, but I could use a couple grand. So I said yes. And so I think that would be the difference. Is I would still probably be working on multiple comics and multiple art projects, but I would be saying more no's to the stuff I'm taking on just for money, which does slow me down and distract me from making the art.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So if you could just picture your dream career as a creator, would you see yourself then still like carrying on, like moving forward multiple projects at once?
Yes, absolutely. Because, well, maybe not. I may, like if I were doing a full graphic novel, I might just have different parts of it in different stages because I like to, okay, if my brain needs to be coloring today or my brain needs to be inking today, I like to be able to flip back and forth between multiple things. So I probably would still be doing multiple things. Let's be real. I don't think I could stop myself from that, but I would only be taking ones that I was really excited about.
That is a good dream. I like that one.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot about the other, we're talking about what's next for me. I also just started a kind of a journal comic talking about chronically ill parenting. and I might be expanding it. I might be working with somebody else to make a kind of a comic slash workbook guide to having long COVID, because a lot of us who have been doing it from the beginning have kind of PhD level knowledge of all this stuff that is very, it's actually quite hard to find. There's not a lot of official knowledge. Most of it's passed person to person. There was a lot of stuff on Twitter before, before Twitter became useless, and there's a lot of stuff on Reddit. And so we were thinking about how nice it would have been if, when we first got sick, there was a checklist of names of things that you could talk to your doctor about that you had never heard of before. So that's another project I'm going to be probably working on this summer.
Yeah, that sounds like it'll help a lot of people. I feel
Yeah,
like,
I hope so.
yeah, I think like our family, we have a child with epilepsy, and it's similar, where there's just like, as much as you go in thinking like medical knowledge is this very like defined, well studied, like there's a book and they just open up and this is exactly the thing. It's nothing like that.
No. And like, with long COVID, there's not even really names for most of these things that are common. And, epilepsy, at least a lot of people know the word epilepsy and can pair it with seizures and have some basis of what you're talking about. But a lot of the symptoms of long COVID are just like, they are not, there's acronyms up the wazoo. There's things that doctors say, well, this is super rare, but it's really just rarely diagnosed, and so there's a book worth of stuff. And so, yeah, hoping that I can keep my brain together long enough to put that together, because I think it would be useful.
Yeah, that's amazing. And for what it's worth, I am sorry that you have to go through that, the suffering with the long COVID. It's amazing that you're turning it around and looking to create something to help people. And that is awesome.
Yeah, try to make the best of it, Still my only life. It is unfortunate. I would not have preferred this, but here we are.
Yeah. Bert, Bert is asking if we ever thought about, Ashley and I ever thought about putting our experiences raising a kid with epilepsy into a comic. And yeah, we have. We've had a lot of interesting experiences on this road. But what always kind of stops us or gets us like into a point where like, well, maybe we'll think about this later, is because it's our child. It's not like, there's part of it that's our story, and there's part of it that's their story. And I don't know what their preference will be when they're older, whether they want any part of this like related to them, potentially just because we're their parents and people might know that. How much do they want shared? And they're still pretty young. And without that input, it kind of feels like maybe this isn't 100% our story to tell. There's a part of it. But yeah, trying to find that balance is interesting.
Yeah, I could see keeping lots of notes and waiting.
Yeah. And there's a lot that's kind of burned in up here, right? Like, yeah, I agree, Sarah, Giles, 100%. Like, as much as can be their choice, I think is really important, because we live in an
that's
age
my kid too. My kid is 9, and he gets to say if that picture gets shared with grandma or what. And same thing with those kind of the journal comics I'm doing. He's in them, and so I've been giving him a chance to look them over, and I'm not naming him by name, but people who know us will know that's him. So I'm giving him a chance to like make sure he's okay with me putting that on the internet.
Yeah, I give our kids the comics that I do, like our slice of life stuff. I also give the kids full veto power whether or not they feel like they're happy with how they're represented in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
which is so interesting. I think parenting in this age, this era is very different than we were parented, as far as the respect of their full humanness.
Yeah, and I think that when we became parents, our kids are around the same age as your son, and like Facebook was kind of in its heyday, I guess I would say.
Yeah. It was still kind of okay and not just all ads.
Yeah, and it was still kind of maintaining a bit more of that actual feeling of connection,
Mm-hmm.
a little bit. And so I think there was always that temptation to just like throw everything out there. Fortunately, we didn't do that entirely. And then at some point, like it just, it pretty quickly it was like, I don't like Facebook anymore, and we kind of just all stopped.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I'm still on there for a couple of groups. I'm an admin for my local Buy Nothing group. I don't know if anyone has a Buy Nothing group, but basically a neighborhood community group where people gift stuff. Um,
oh, nice.
it's
Okay, yeah, yeah.
it's really cool. It's a really cool philosophy. Like the only things you can do in that group are give, ask, or express gratitude. Um, and it can be anything from like, hey, I opened this package of cookies and I'm not into them. Does anyone want these? To, actually high ticket items. We have a bunch of furniture that came from Buy Nothing. My kid's bunk bed came from there, but it's on Facebook and we haven't found a good replacement platform for it yet. And so that's one of the only reasons I'm still really on there, is to make sure everybody on there is behaving themselves.
It's hard to sometimes make sure that humans are behaving themselves.
Yes, our group is
Little
pretty
ones
good,
and
but
big ones, honestly.
yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. The big ones can cause lots of trouble.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I think we use Nextdoor for like that, especially when we moved,
Mm.
which I can't believe it's almost been 3 years now.
Yeah.
We cleared out a lot of stuff, and it turns out the one thing that Nextdoor was really useful for us was for clearing out stuff. Be like, hey, we're getting rid of this. Does anybody want it? And then
Yes.
it can be very
Yeah.
helpful.
Yeah,
Um,
next door's all right. Our neighborhood group tends to be, and I don't know if it's because we're in a city or what, but it gets like real racist real fast. Like there's a
ooh,
lot of like, oh, there was a
ooh.
suspicious person, and then it turns out it was just a brown person, and you're like,
Oh,
I'm not into this
unpleasant.
conversation. So I have not been enjoying. I
Yeah,
don't know why. I don't know. I don't know why that is the feature, because I don't find it to be the truth in my neighborhood in general. But
it's weird what arises sometimes, even though it's not
yeah.
entirely anonymous. I know for us in the
Yes.
South, both in Georgia and for a little bit here before I just kind of deleted the app and gave up, it turns out there's a whole lot of like, what kind of snake is this? And it's just
Oh.
like, it's oops, all snakes, essentially. Like, that is what Nextdoor is down south. Because everyone's like, is this poisonous? Like, why would you go take a picture of it if you were worried that it was
Step
poisonous?
away.
Yeah. Yeah.
Goodness.
It was an interesting experience, but I mean, the snakes are for real down here. It was worse for us in Georgia.
Mm.
We backed up to the woods, and like we
Okay,
had
so
just
you
like
had.
a 2.5 foot king snake that would just come like cruising on through the yard.
But those
Um,
guys aren't. Those guys just eat rats and stuff, right? They're not poisonous.
oh, it's better. They eat other snakes, including poisonous
Oh,
snakes. You actually are
cool.
those are ones that you're happy to have around.
Oh, I was gonna say, like, that sounds kind of cool. I'm not. I don't have
Yeah,
a
I
snake
have no
phobia.
grudge against them. It was just like that shock of seeing them like coming through, like, oh,
Oh, it's a
all
big
right,
snake.
hey, yeah.
We have coyotes. We have a lot of urban coyotes, and that's a thing that we get
Oh,
a lot of sightings of. Is one of our neighbors was like, oh yeah, I saw one walking in the fence between our yards one time, and I was like, oh, that's that's close. That's gotta make sure those chickens are tightly kept up.
yeah. Oh, so wait, do you keep chickens?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. No. That's sorry. I was,
Okay, I was like, wait a minute, wait.
should have prefaced that. See, this is the ADHD working.
No,
Yes, we have chickens. We have two big grown-up chickens out in the yard right now, and we've got four baby chicks not incubating, being brooded and kept warm in my bathroom. So, yeah, we keep the chickens for the eggs, and hopefully
apparently
not the
that's very
coyotes.
important these days. To get
Well, yeah, that's, we had one die, and I was like, oh, all right, are we gonna keep doing this? And my husband was like, well, the price of eggs is a little. I think maybe we should get some more chickens. All right, all right. So we have little baby chicks.
uh, so that is like amazing timing. We actually just this evening got back from visiting a farm, as part of like our homeschool experience for our kids. Like we actually like,
Nice.
even though I grew up in Wisconsin, today was the first day I ever milked a cow. Um,
Oh,
so
okay.
that was a
How
new
was that?
experience. It was
I've never
you
milked a cow.
You know what? At first I was like, this feels like it's gonna be off-putting, but actually it was fine.
No,
It was fine.
yeah, just kind of chill. I guess
Yeah.
the cow's probably used to it.
Yeah, you could tell they were definitely used to it.
They were like not making it awkward.
They were maintaining eye contact the entire time. It was horrible.
Gross. Oh no.
That would be the worst. Oh my gosh. So I think we've had a very wide
Sarah G is not happy with
discussion.
us.
Yeah.
This tangent has gone off the rails a little bit.
Maybe we need to regroup a little bit.
Let's come back to comics.
Let's come back. Yeah.
Although,
Comics.
please, actually, Jeff, can you please make a comic of you milking a cow with full eye contact? Because
Okay, I will accept this challenge and Sarah Giles's challenge of an Oops series of comics. I will gladly take that on.
nice.
But so comics, yeah. Well, I think one of the things that's always fun to ask is like what is like the best graphic novel you've read or one of your favorites? What do you go to often?
Oh,
for
what do I
inspiration?
love? I love Ben Hatkey's work. All of the Z to the Space Girl
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
Things in the Basement. Like I love his style. And I would love to write like him. There is a graphic novel called Little Monarchs, which I think is really beautiful, and it's all done in hand watercolor. And that's one I would
Oh,
love to do. It's really cool. It's about it's like a post-apocalyptic children's book.
whoa. Okay.
Yeah, no, it's so good. It's so good. It's about a little girl and her, I guess, like late teens, early 20s caretaker who can only be above ground because they have found a way to make an antidote from the scales of monarch butterflies. And everybody else all the other mammals on Earth have become super photosensitive, and they will die if they are exposed to the sun without this thing. So it's wild. It's about science, and it's about apocalyptic things, and it's set in my region. It's set in Oregon and Northern California, so that's kind of fun too. And who else? Snapdragon by Kat Leigh is one of my favorites, and their adult book Thirsty Mermaids makes me laugh so hard. So if you enjoy it's silly, it's profane. It's like it's basically these like drunk like 19-year-old mermaids get really drunk off wine that they find in a pirate ship and dare one of them to turn them into humans. And they show up in a little beach town in California and just have no idea what they're doing and are absolutely ridiculous, and it's very funny.
Okay, I might have to look that one up.
It's like rude and funny, and they swear a lot, and my kid got a hold of it and he was like, "Oh my gosh, they said the F word." I was like, "Well, yeah, you already know the F word, it's fine." But yeah. So those are some disparate.
No, that's great. Yeah, I think it's so interesting just like kind of finding what people like, what inspires them or what like kind of brings them back to the joy of comics and like creating and telling stories.
Yeah, I'm all over the place in my reading. I guess as a reader, I'm kind of a fantasy and sci-fi person at my core. So anything that has a sense of magic, even if the magic is close to reality, those are things that really get me going.
So like everything from like magic realism to high fantasy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I lean more towards magical realism than high fantasy, but I certainly had a high fantasy period in my teens.
Likewise, very much.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it occurs to me to ask, like, I wouldn't have ever assumed this because I see like the variety of projects that you're doing, and like you're just the sheer like breadth of things and the creative output is amazing. Do you ever get like a creative burnout?
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. Honestly, so when my kid was born, so he was born in 2015, and so between then And when in 2020, I don't think I wrote or created almost anything. I was really, and part of that was postpartum depression, so I won't blame that all. But then there was a period of that. I had been pretty prolific before that, but then there was another dry spell. Um, so yes, I do. I get super burnt out, and I do a lot of knitting or like sew my own clothes. I do other creative things than write and draw. In those periods, I'm hoping that some of the variety of what I'm working on now leads to not having so much burnout, because before it was kind of the same novel that I was kicking around, and I would keep coming back to it, and I don't this is the one that might be ready now, but I don't think I knew what it was about yet. And I think now I might be able to know what it's about.
Okay, that's interesting. Maybe it's like your brain telling you it's not quite ready yet.
Yeah. Yeah, or maybe I wasn't focused enough on it, or I wasn't ready to tell a full story yet. I just didn't have the craft. And so I think a lot of these classes I've taken have helped me understand how, as kind of a pantser, how I can actually think ahead and structure a story and know where it's going without being a full outliner. So I think that's some maturity that I found that I think is going to help a lot on longer form projects, which is what my brain wants to do.
Makes sense. So by the way, for anyone, since we have a pretty wide pool here on Twitch, if you don't know pantser versus plotter, it's the two methods of kind of figuring out your story. Pantser means flying by the seat of your pants and kind of working it out as you go, versus a plotter who's someone who actually kind of has the whole roadmap settled.
Yes, I am a dedicated pantser. I love the flow. I love to lose myself in writing and just go back and not even remember what I wrote. But it turns out it's hard to write a whole novel that way, because you have to at some point know what you did before.
So, are you a NaNoWriMo person? So National Novel Writing Month.
That is. I did it once the year before my son was born, and I took a big break. And I tried to work on that project, and it kind of went off on another somewhat related tangent, and I have not looked at that writing since then. But I haven't had the energy or the time really to do it since then.
Yeah,
November's a hard time with kids.
To me, I've never attempted it. Short comics work really well for me because of the pockets of time that I can find to invest in them. Mm-hmm. Keeping track of bigger projects is good, but it's often just mentally intimidating to try to like keep that constant thread of bandwidth open for a long period of time.
Yeah. That's kind of why I'm like thinking about what's next. What I would really like is to find a colorist job. I know I told you guys about this. I thought I had one. But I would love to color people's graphic novels and then be able to, because coloring doesn't take a lot of mental energy for me. So I'd love to be able to do that while working on writing something of my own, because I think that would be an ideal combination.
So when you do that, do you prefer that the color palette already be dictated, or do you enjoy like picking out the palette?
I like picking out the palette, but I wouldn't mind having it dictated. It wouldn't bother me. Just so I know what I'm working on. Kind of sounds like people are always looking. Who's looking for colorists? Tell them, give them my name. I would love to work as a colorist.
Hey,
small projects, big projects, send them to me.
If you're out there looking for a colorist, pick Sarah. She's here. She's
pick
ready
me.
to do it.
I'm
She's
good.
Awesome.
Yep, you can tell me it sucks and I won't mind. I'll fix it.
We're gonna put it out there into the universe and see what happens.
Yes. I would. Yeah, no, I absolutely love that. So that's a dream.
Very cool. If you love comics and hate colors, call Sarah. I like it. That's on your business card, right?
You don't have to hate colors. You maybe get bored of putting them in there. I never get bored of putting them in there. I was a coloring kid.
Yeah. That's likewise very much. So one of the things that got me into art at an early age was I was in daycare, and one of the teachers, just care providers, like to draw, and so she would draw like popular characters, and I have a very vivid like image etched into my memory of her drawing Yoshi from Mario, and that just like stuck with me, and I'm like, yes, you can create this, like you can do that. I can make,
You
if
could
I
just
learn how to
do
do this, I
this.
can just make all the art of the characters that I love, like all that I want. That's incredible. um yeah, and that kind of
Nice.
got me going. Did you have a moment like that that kind of pushed you into art?
Um, I don't remember. I always remember drawing. My mom has a book that she claims is my first from when I was about 3. It's called Chicks and More because it had Easter chick stickers on it. And I think I dictated this book to my mother and drew a lot of the pictures in it, and it's very scribbly, and I have no idea what it is, but that is the lore says that is my first book, and I guess I never stopped really.
Have you ever thought about revisiting it, almost like the Create a Critter, which is one of the tiers for the backing the anthology of
Revisiting Chicks and More. I mean, I did see it recently because my mother was moving and she was, choosing what to keep and what to go. So that was a keeper, obviously. Yeah, I don't know. There's no real emotional core to Chicks and More. It was a very 3-year-old book, It was a very like, oh, look over there. Oh, look over there. This is a thing I like.
Fair. Okay, yeah, I can see that.
But it would be fun to see if I have somewhere what used to be on 3.5-inch floppy disks and my like preteen and teen writings, because I bet there's some interesting stuff in there.
I have a few of those. I'll never forget. In the 8th grade, it was actually a collection of short comics. Ironically, as like we had a writing project that we had to do, and I'm like, can I do comics for mine? And they're like, yes. But I decided I was going to do it digitally, which meant I was just drawing with mouse,
A mouse in Photoshop in Windows
not even
3.1 or whatever.
Photoshop, just Paint, nothing but Paint.
Oh yeah.
And that was
Oh.
before Paint had layers.
Oh, honey.
Oh my gosh, I'm like, how did I do that? And I was so sad because they promised us, they're like, this is your 8th grade writing project. It's going to be in your file for the school, and when you graduate, you're going to get this back. And I never got it. I was like, oh man, I wish I could see that. I should have the file somewhere, maybe at my parents' house, on probably on floppy disks. But
yeah. I had an 8th grade project. We all had to write our autobiographies, which were supposed to be, of the past. But I was always an overachiever and wrote my future as well, in which I predicted
awesome.
that I would. My teacher was so mad at me. She did not like me. She was the home ec teacher, and she was a rules person, and I don't know. I'm pretty sure I was better at English than she was, and we didn't get along. She was very cranky with me. But I predicted that I would become an interior designer and live in California. So I guess going to architecture school and living in Oregon at least kind of follows that.
Honestly, that's a pretty good prediction. That's pretty solid.
Yeah, wasn't too bad.
Did you ever have to take the career aptitude test where they told you?
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. I don't remember. I don't remember what they said because I probably just ignored it. I was like, oh, that doesn't sound. I don't want to. No.
Sarah, you wanted to play for the Celtics, like play basketball? That was also my dream.
Awesome.
But not the Celtics, the Bulls. So you and I would have been rivals. I'm sorry to say.
Oh, nice. Fight it out. If we ever get together in person, you guys will have to have a shooting contest.
Have a grudge match.
Yeah. Heck yeah.
Yeah. Sadly, I stopped growing about in 6th grade. So I'm only about half an inch taller now than I was then. Yeah, we can play horse. That's a better idea.
Yeah,
that's the
that's
better,
fine.
safer idea. I will take you up on that. Also,
That's
I haven't
fun for
tried
everyone.
basketball in like a year or two, so you might have an advantage.
We'll all start practicing. If there's going to be a KCU horse match, like, I'm getting a hoot, man.
Horse tournament. If we ever have to get together, we need to have a horse tournament, and nobody will know why we're doing it. But we'll know.
Well, just because one night we talked about childhood dreams.
Yeah. The career aptitude test thing is funny because I remember getting mine back, and I was like, I don't remember what I'd want it to be at the time, but I got it back and it said dictionary editor. And I was just like, so like, no.
It's not a job. I mean, I guess it is,
Like, you
but
want to
like,
crush
come
a
on.
child's dreams, tell them they're going to be a
No.
dictionary editor.
Oh no. I
I
really don't
don't
remember.
know.
I remember taking them. I remember taking them at least a couple times, but I have no recall. I'll have to ask some high school friends and some like middle school friends if they remember
Yeah. I remember I
anything
was
about
such a
that.
reader back then, and I know I'd always tested like much higher for my vocabulary and all of that. So I'm guessing that is
Yeah.
where that came from. Like
Yeah, no, probably, but like what a rude job. Like why is that even in there? It's a
no,
stupid career. Like editor, fine, like say editor. Why is it going to be so
it probably wasn't even
specific?
computerized at the time, so it was like probably a person, like maybe they had a scoring metric, but like I
Right,
don't
but
I
but
don't
somebody
know.
decided to put dictionary editor in the list of
Yeah.
potential jobs, right? Like there was a decision made somewhere that that was a reasonable thing to tell a child.
Yeah. I'm glad, don't get me wrong. I think dictionary editors are very important.
No, no, yeah, no,
Um,
no shade. It just seems like an uncommon profession. It's not like every kid who gets dictionary editor is going to be able to move into that career.
yeah. Yeah. Hey, Sona, how's it going? Uh, we're hanging out talking about the anthology book tonight. This is Sarah Steinberg, and we're just chatting about our experience working with about 35 other creators in creating this anthology. We just launched on Kickstarter Tuesday, and we're fully funded. So yeah, we're just having a good time, hanging out, chatting.
Chatting, kind of talking about the anthology a little bit.
If you have any questions about comics or things like that, feel free to drop them in chat.
Fuck yeah. AI can do that when it's not. Oh, edit the dictionary. Yeah, I'd be fine with that.
Have you guys
Although they're
seen
like
that?
sucking up a lot of power and water, so they should just not do anything. They should be fired.
Have you guys seen the ads now? I just got my first one on YouTube yesterday for like the data annotation jobs.
No.
Because AI, like, so it's funny because my science work actually works in training AI for weather prediction. Like
Yeah,
that's
like
AI
actually
based.
good AI.
Yeah, useful AI that actually saves human lives. Is
Yes, okay,
the
we like
plan
that.
there. Um, but yeah, it requires lots of really well organized, well labeled data sets, and so you can now get a job or make money by labeling these data sets or annotating the data that will go in to train AI. And I'm like, this
Oh,
feels a little bit like the humans are now serving the computers, and it
that
feels
sounds a
kind of
little
weird.
soul sucking. Yeah, I don't
It's
know
it's
if I
it's very
wanna.
interesting. We live in such a very interesting time.
Ooh, sure do.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
great. Yeah, we could move on because the AI topic is like a whole other thing, and we don't need to
Oh, it's a
we
whole.
don't need to
Yeah, it's a
dive into
whole.
that.
It's a whole
So
hole.
so so like you can help build the matrix. Yeah, it feels
Yeah.
a little bit like that, doesn't it? Yeah. Um, so one of the things I wanted to ask is like I know you we are actually in the same intensive class together, I believe,
Oh yeah.
through
Yeah, we
KC.
absolutely were. Hmm.
Yeah, and like since that time, like I have seen you just like grow so intensely and be so prolific with your work. Um, like, do you have any advice for people like who are out there who maybe want to get their work out, who are not quite sure how to even get started?
Uh, find somebody to work with. So like find somebody who wants to collaborate with you, who has similar or dovetailing goals, um, and commit to doing something that you both want to do. And then don't take it too seriously. Because especially the Nikki and Ricky ones that Maria and I did, the first one, I did it all hand drawn, hand inked, and hand watercolored.
Whoa.
Um, and by the time I was finished hand drawing, hand inking, and hand watercoloring it, I had gotten so much better at drawing all the characters that I wanted to do it over. And so when we decided to do 3 books, I actually did. I did it all digitally. So all 3 would match because I didn't want to do any more. I didn't want to hand ink the other 2. And that was possible because one, I had somebody who was expecting me to finish it, so I didn't just toss it when I was finished and say, well, that was crap, moving on. I had somebody who was also excited and invested in the project who was like, well, okay, but like, what are we going to do for number 2? Like, do you want to keep doing it that way? Or like, how are we going to make that work? And so that was, it helped me to stay on track. Marie is the opposite of my ADHD. She is very methodical, and she is very dedicated to things that she wants to get done, and she's really good at planning things out. So she helps keep me on track. So find somebody like that who complements your skills. and then do things that aren't going to break your heart if nobody cares.
No, that's that last one is so important, I think.
Yeah.
Or even
and you're not gonna get hate. That's the thing. It's like you really aren't going to get a lot of hate for these kind of projects, because like the worst thing that happens is that not a lot of people see it or care about it, which can be sad. But it's not, like people won't be angry at you. They'll just be like, meh.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because I think some of the most satisfaction I've gotten as an artist is doing stuff that is just like, maybe I made a comic for a friend, and it's like totally self-indulgent. Like it's just like maybe like 1 or 2 other people are ever gonna see this.
But it makes the 2 of you really happy.
Yeah, it's the things that makes you happy as an artist, but there's no expectation pinned on it for the rest of the world. Like, you don't need validation from anywhere outside this very small group of people. I think
exactly.
That's helpful.
Yeah.
Talking about finding someone who complements your skills, it turns out that is very much how Ashley and I work as well.
I bet. I imagine otherwise you wouldn't be able to do it for so long.
Yeah, I think Sarah Giles can probably speak to this a little bit too, because she's now seen with Cartoons. She's seen us kind of working together for oh my gosh, almost 2 years now.
Oh wow. You guys have been on now.
Well, a year and a half, I guess I'd say. But yeah, we've been going for a while with that, even just on Cartoons. But yeah, Ashley is very methodical, like laser like focus, and I am the kind of procrastinator, chase all the different ideas, that kind of thing. But it ends up working well together. Like we kind of pull each other towards a middle ground of progress.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's definitely not one-sided. I think, Marie feels the same about working with me, is that I get excited about things. She'll be like, oh, I'm not sure. Is this any good? I'm like, who cares? Let's do it. It'll be fun.
Yes. That's me. That is 100% me.
So I think, we balance.
Let's see. So did you have anything like that you wanted to bring up about the Anthology project, about KCU, anything that you want to say to twitch.tv?
Oh, let me brainstorm. Twitch. Okay. This is my first experience with Twitch, so now I feel like I have to be profound or something. Not really. I think the Anthology has been great just to put something out there, because it has had there has been so much editing, there has been so much collaboration on the comics themselves. I really do feel like it's been a different experience than just being in a critique group, because there has been more formal oversight to it, which was a really interesting experience. So if you do have the opportunity, you had picked up Comics in the Kitchen, which was the absolute opposite. There was a call for submissions, and they saw sample art and they saw the script, and then we sent it to them and they said okay, and there was very little feedback. It just kind of went in and then it came out. So this KCU one has been a lot more rewarding as a creator because of the feedback. And KCU is great. Similarly, I was a member without being part of studio for a long time, and didn't get as much out of it, I think because it stays a little shallower in the main feed. But joining the intensive really convinced me. I was like, okay, I need to be in here with the people, watching the interviews and really engaging in this, because there's just so much there. I feel like no matter what stage you're at, there's something that can kind of keep you going or like give you a little boost if you're stuck, or yeah, somebody with a new skill who can teach you something that you didn't know you needed, or just like remind you to use the sub view in Clip Studio for your colors or whatever it is.
There you go. Yeah, that's a good one.
So, like some of those things sound stupid, but like it is amazing how much time those things save. I got a tour box, a little like side thing to use with my laptop that I draw on most of the time, because other Jeff had recommended it, and he had done a little examination in the Clip Studio cafe of the clip. There's a Clip Studio device that you can get on the side, and then he also had this one that he liked better, and I've been using it. I'm like, oh yeah, this is a productivity tool for sure. So just things like that. There's all kinds of things out there that you would never know about.
Yeah, I know I should probably look into that, because like I do a lot of drawing on the like just sitting on the sofa watching TV like in the evening, like that's like art time as well.
Exactly. Same. I mean, that's Sarah G asked how I balance things. Yeah, there's a lot of that. And there's no keyboard yet, so this is great because you can program it. It actually comes with Clip Studio presets. But you can program it. And it has, I use the dropper tool, and I've got, you can toggle between brush and pencil and eraser and undo and redo. I mean, there's a lot of buttons on it. You can program it for whatever. So that's been really helping me speed things up a little bit.
Very cool. Yeah, and I think I definitely speaking to like the Clip Studio Cafe and Jeff, like his contributions there have been like incredible. There's so much, like just kind of working through the comic process a few times, like a little bit, like picking up all the different pointers and tools and like feeling out which ones.
He's one of those like methodical, detail-oriented people who I would have a hard time working directly with for a long time, but I so appreciate it. Especially, I appreciate working adjacent to him because I know he's not going to miss anything. Like he's going to pick up every detail. Absolutely. Yeah. So yeah, he's been great in clips in. So I will say the tour box was a little expensive. It was more expensive than the Clip Studio Direct one, but I like had it on an Amazon wish list, and my mommy bought it for me for Christmas. So
nice.
So I don't remember how expensive it was. I just know it was a little. It was. I had hesitated to buy it for myself because I was like, it's a little indulgent. But then my nice mommy bought it for me because I'm a grown up.
You are, yeah. Some of the things you'll see on stream here were also gifts from my parents as well. So I get that.
Yes.
By the way, Bert, thanks for joining us. Good seeing you. We'll catch up soon. And
Hi, Bert.
Get you up here on stream as well. It'll be good times.
Yeah.
By the way, yeah, Frank added a weather command in here. So if anybody wants to see what the weather is where you are, you can just type that weather command in chat. So
exclamation point KCA. Is that right?
So exclamation point weather. Well, the KCA, yeah, that's
the
Kickstarter. Exclamation point weather, and then in quotes where you are. So I'm doing like, for me, is Orlando, Florida.
Okay.
So that's kind of the syntax for it.
Fancy.
Anything? Is it coming through?
Did I do it right? Yeah, I see yours.
Where is it? I don't know why this is.
Oh, maybe I have to do OR instead of Oregon.
1 second.
I mean, I know what the weather is. It's nice out. There we go.
Okay, there we are. Nice. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
But speaking of the technical side of things, what do you actually draw on?
What do I actually draw on? 6x9 notebooks for sure is a lot of my first. I like a 0.7 pencil for my first sketches most of the time. I have a Lenovo laptop. It's a Flex 15 or something. It's not super new. And it flips over into a tablet, so it folds up inside out with the keyboard down, and I do most of my drawing on that. I also have a Huion
Oh
I
yeah,
don't know
yeah.
how to say that. Um, one of their smaller tablets hooked up to my desktop, um, which I don't love as much, but I think I haven't really worked on the ergonomics of it. Um, so I usually don't do my finish inking on there. I can sketch on it okay, but I like the laptop better for inking. Uh, but yeah, so I switch back and forth. I use the desktop when I'm doing a lot of my lettering because it's just easier to have a keyboard, even with the little side thing. It's nice to have your copy paste and your typey type to lay out the lettering. And then I do most of my inking on the laptop.
Very cool. So that makes me think. Do you have a favorite and least favorite part of the comics process?
Do I? Penciling because it has to be good. If I don't do my penciling good, then my inks don't come out good, and then I have to do it over. So I think it's not that it's my least favorite. It's just it takes the most effort. So it's the hardest part, especially because I don't draw people well. Drawing people is not and characters is not automatic for me yet. So boycott the S Pen. Why is that? Tell me why. Oh, for betraying you. Because I have one of those too, but I don't draw on it too often.
Frank, have they still not sent your new pen? Samsung has been stringing Frank along on a replacement S Pen for his
Unacceptable.
Galaxy Tab.
That's rude.
It's rude.
I do. Yeah, I do have one of those too, and I've been because you can do Clip Studio on that. I used that a little bit when I was traveling recently.
It's been 5 months. Oh my goodness.
Oh my gosh, that's unreal. Come on.
Sarah, Giles, I didn't realize you were drawing on a Hui. I always say Huion, but I don't know if that
Huion,
has
yeah,
anything to
that
do
sounds
with
right.
the actual letters that are in that name. We have other customers.
Oops, we're out.
I know. I've been looking at some of the drawing tablets. Right now I have it's a Surface
Reasonable.
Studio laptop, so it does the foldable thing, and it works really well. And I like the Surface Pen. Like it has a good. It's kind of that it's got a good thick feel to it for drawing. At some point I might consider going to a dedicated tablet, but I'm not sure how well it works for art, couch art. You know, because I still have to have it plugged into my laptop on the side, and it just seems like it wouldn't.
Yeah.
Work.
Yeah.
Samsung, who makes the S Pens, is out of S Pens.
Like it doesn't. It hurts. It hurts. Yeah.
So,
come on, Samsung, get it together. This is not. These are lies. This is like insurance company kind of lies.
Oh goodness. Don't get me started. Don't get me started.
We were talking about customer service, and earlier today in our critique group, we were talking about how sometimes you have to put your inner Karen on in this.
I love. If you feel like sharing it, you don't have to. But I love your way that your upfront announcement that you made to them right away.
Yeah, no. Whenever I'm on the chat with insurance, and I mean, like, it's a lot because I take a lot of medicine and stuff. I go to a lot of doctor's appointments. Yeah, whenever I'm on with a chat representative, I'm like, listen, the first moment they give me one of those kind of like oblique answers where they're not really telling me what they're doing, I'm like, listen, I'm unemployed. That $150 means a lot more to me than it does your company. Can you just let whoever makes these decisions, let them know that I am going to waste more of your time than if you just send me the money. Like I will be on these chats for however many hours it takes to triple your expenses. Just pay my bill. Just like pay the thing. Give me the money that you owe me. So that's my and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, but it makes me feel better just letting them know that this is what you're in for today. I'm not going away.
Honestly, it's admirable because as a family with health challenges, we've had Ashley does a lot of this work in our family, and it's just like the amount of runaround and the amount of how they will just stall you and try to get you to give up is
just forget. Frankie, you absolutely should. I was with mine today because I had sent in a claim. You can only send it by mail because apparently it's 1992, and I was like, so where is this? Like, did it ever arrive? And they're like, yeah, we got that claim. And I'm like, okay, well, I haven't got a check. I sent it in January. So what's up? And they're like, oh, yeah, we got it. We just haven't cut the check. And I'm like, why? And they're like, I don't know. It processed, but we just haven't sent the check. I'm like, okay. So is this part of the process? Do I have to just check in and say, cut me the check now? And of course they couldn't answer that question, but now I know. I have to get on the chat every time I send one in. Yeah.
Yeah, there's so many things that seems like you have to push every step.
Well, I was worried, Frankie. I was worried they were going to say that, and so that's why I called, because I was just like, well, I'm going to send another copy, or I had some more to send in. I was like, do I need to send another one? Did you get it? Because it came in an envelope on paper, because you don't have email, apparently. But it got there. They said it got there. They had all the information. They just hadn't written me the check because they were hoping I'd forget about it, I guess. No, Sarah doesn't forget about insurance company checks. Sorry. Sarah doesn't have $1 million from a comics project yet. That's what I would do. That's what I would change, Sarah G. If I had $1 million project, I would stop wasting my time arguing with insurance companies. I would just be like, fine, whatever.
That's right, Frank. I forgot that you were a substitute mailman for a while.
That sounds like a hard job.
Sorry, Frank lost it. No, thanks. Frank is dedicated.
It's, I'm okay if the mail people lose it. I just don't trust the insurance companies. Because I know they're lying to me.
We've all seen The Incredibles. We know how it works.
Exactly. Oh, that's one of the best movies. It makes me cry every time. The bit where the mom's up in the plane and she's saying there's children on this plane. Even before I was a mother, that scene made me cry every single time. She's trying to get them not to shoot the plane down because her kids are on the plane. And I don't know what it is about that scene, but I have never watched The Incredibles and not cried during that scene.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I can get it. I can get why that is emotionally tough. It's funny because we've seen it. The most of the times that I've actually seen it, I would more be accurately described as hearing it. We have a DVD player in the car, and we never planned to be that family, but we ended up getting a van that had it, and it's been invaluable. So there's so
many I didn't mean to be that mom moments that I've had in my lifetime. I've given up. We are what we are.
Yes, absolutely. But yeah, there's so many movies that it's like I've just heard them dozens of times, but I've seen them once.
Oh yeah, that must be kind of a mind game.
Yeah. It's interesting. And then there's times that there's movies that I haven't seen at all, and we put them, in the car first, and I hear them, and then when I actually get the chance to see them, I'm like, oh, that is totally how I didn't picture that, or totally not how I pictured that, totally how I didn't picture it. That
I know what you mean.
Yes,
shake the words up, toss them out.
Words are hard. I'm gonna take another sip of coffee real quick. This is
coffee at night.
PM,
You're bold, Jeff. I'm gonna give you props. Can you sleep after that?
Yeah, I could probably go to sleep 10 minutes after finishing this coffee.
Okay,
I don't have a problem.
I don't want to presume anything about your brain chemistry, but I was just reading a book about ADHD that was talking about how some people with ADHD sleep better on stimulants, on coffee or on stimulant medication. I would not be one of them, but I thought that was really interesting. I was like, oh, that's my dad. My dad is drinking coffee all day, and I'm always like, how do you sleep?
Yeah, no, I haven't gotten screened. I got a referral to be screened, and then didn't manage to schedule the actual screening, which might be the most ADHD way to do that.
Well, I've heard from people that's a thing that the psychiatrists say when they talk to you. They're like, oh, it took you 2 years to make this phone call. Check.
Yeah, it's like, there you go.
The only reason I got diagnosed is because it goes back to the long COVID, one of the many experimental off-label drugs I was given to try to deal with the long COVID brain issues was this thing called guanfacine, which is itself an off-label ADHD drug. Really? And when I started taking it, it's not a stimulant. I don't actually know how it works. I have no idea. But I started taking it for the long COVID, and it helped clear up my brain a little bit. but also I was able to like walk by a laundry basket and then do the laundry instead of walking by the laundry basket 700 times and thinking, God, I suck. How come I can't do laundry? Like,
Yeah, the shame is
right
real.
there, put the laundry in, weeks go by. And so now with this medication, I can like, at least 50% of the time, I can be like, laundry, run. And then I did the thing. So.
That's a nice feeling. Yeah, the shame for like seeing the thing that you're trying to do and then not getting it done is
Yeah.
I know that
So
one.
yeah, so that because it was such an experimental medicine, I was like, oh, maybe I have ADHD since this is helping these symptoms. I better get a diagnosis in case I stop being able to get this medication for the experimental purpose. And so that's literally the only reason I got assessed, because I wanted to keep the meds.
Yeah, I know. The reason I brought up the subject of getting the referral for me was because one of our kids had the diagnosis, and as I researched it.
Oh, my kid did too. That's what brought it up in the first place. Yes.
Yeah. Which, by the way, if you're ever curious about ADHD stuff, the YouTube channel How to ADHD is incredible.
Oh, it's the book. I just read her book. I haven't watched her videos, but I just read her book, and it's really good.
I wanted to check out the book. It looks really good. Like, the videos are so good. I'm sure the book is excellent.
Yeah.
But yeah, she did a TED Talk as well, which is amazing. In fact, that might be the best place to start.
Oh, Frankie's coffee machine broke. No, Frankie, that's bad. That's not acceptable. That's a real emergency. That's an overnight shipping emergency. Do we gotta
moment of silence for Frank?
Do we gotta crowdfund you some Amazon Prime so we can get you a coffee machine?
So actually, Frank, who is not officially a barista, has like encyclopedic knowledge of how to make various coffees. So if you have any coffee questions, please direct them to Frank.
I'm not very fancy with my coffee. I French press the coffee, and then I drink the coffee, and then I'm pretty happy.
Okay, so no, salutes to Frankie's coffee machine. Yeah. Well, Frank, for example, he told me the entire reason why drip coffee makers are horrible. Which
pour over seems like a good. In
case you wanted to go into that.
Yeah, no, pour over is a good option, because then you can like always make it. It's just there. It's low tech. I like that. I like the French press too. Yeah.
For a while. So Ashley suffers from migraines, so she's been trying cutting out coffee. So I've been trying to have my coffee more low key lately, so I'm not like rubbing it in her face that I'm like having it. So I'm on the instant coffee kick these days. It works. It's caffeinated.
Yeah, no, it does the job.
Yeah, what I used to do was arguably worse, which was whatever method of making coffee we did, whether it was drip or percolator or French press, we did them all various times. I would save whatever was left over and just drink the cold black coffee in the morning the next day from the fridge.
Why is iced coffee good? Why is iced coffee good but cold coffee bad? I don't understand. But cold coffee is the most unpleasant temperature sensation in the whole world for me.
For me, if it's the morning and it's coffee and it's caffeinated, I will take it. It does not.
I'm not saying I wouldn't drink it, Jeff. I'm just saying I would complain. I've been working on updating our like bug out bag, like emergency kit, to have, just to have, there's all kinds of things going on in the world, and there's this big earthquake that might happen here sometimes, so I always like to have a kit. And one thing I saw recommended was to get caffeine pills, so because they keep for a long time and then you won't go through the coffee withdrawals. And I was like,
that makes sense.
I was like, oh, that's good, because like not having the coffee would be not great. Everything's broken, you're dealing with a survival situation and there's no coffee and caffeine headache.
That's the straw that breaks the camel's back right there.
Yeah.
You just kicked your decades-long habit? Oh my gosh, that's incredible. Kudos to you.
Cold coffee is acidic. Okay, cold coffee is more acidic than hot coffee, Frank. That's interesting.
Yes, my wife told me.
Like a tea bag? Like a tea bag. They just like sat there and
Interesting.
Oh, for the migraines. Oh, Sarah G, you have migraines too. That makes
Migraines are no
sense.
fun. I tell you what. As a spouse of a migraine sufferer, I have seen.
Yeah. Yeah, I get vestibular ones. They're not painful, but I get like all my senses get wackadoo.
Oh, so I get
Um,
the auras when I get a migraine, um, and mine is actually really crazy. It's like, um, it's almost like the Aztec designs you see where it's like the snake that's made of like the triangles that are like kind
oh
of.
yeah.
Mine starts out as a little dot and then it just grows around the peripheries of my vision and it looks like a flashing snake like that growing around like my vision, and when it gets full, that's when like the migraine actually hits me. So like I get
Whoa,
like the warning
trippy.
that it's coming. Um,
To get in a safe place and
Safe place, and usually I'd read that caffeine actually can help with that with migraines. I'd heard. So it's usually if I'll
oh,
take like a Tylenol and get like some caffeine, whether it's chocolate or coffee, and that'll oftentimes mitigate some of it, and it helps. But
hmm,
when
interesting.
Frankie gets a migraine, he just says no and it goes away.
Yeah, I wish I were you. Your no must be special.
It can also cause
It can
them.
also cause them. Yeah, it's like I'm gonna choose to. There's so many things I'm like supposed to do to like see
Everything
if it
cool causes.
makes the long COVID better. Yeah, everything cool causes migraines, but it's like the same thing. It's like, oh, you're supposed to eliminate this from your diet and that from your diet, and like the two things I'm holding out on are the coffee and the gluten. I'm just like, I don't, I don't know. I don't want to be better that much. I want bread and coffee.
It's ironic you say everything cool because sunglasses give me a headache. Actually,
Mm,
my sinuses. I have horrible allergies. I'm allergic. Like I took an allergy test for like 50 allergens in this area, and I tested at least mildly positive to like 40 of them.
oh,
And so
that's
the
easy, no
sinus
problem.
pressure, anything pushing down on my sinuses. I wear contacts for like 16 hours a day or whatever. Basically, most of the time I'm awake because
Yeah,
glasses are painful for me.
I got LASIK a couple years ago, and I have never been happier.
That's right, Frank. You had the bronchitis, and that stuck around for a
Mm,
while.
bronchitis sucks. Yeah. Sarah, yeah, no, the bread and the pasta. I just somebody's got to prove it to me. It's like prove it. If you will give me real information about why this is hurting me, I will maybe believe you. But like just because it's trendy, I can't.
No, I'm cool. Frank, you are cool. I will affirm that. Absolutely. 100%.
You seem cool.
Yeah, we're for our kid with epilepsy, like they're on a ketogenic diet, so it's super low carb, like less than 20
Oh
grams
yeah,
of carbohydrates a day. So while the rest of us have a little bit more than that, we generally have a lot less carbs in the house, and it's like, oh, rice, pasta, goodbye. Sorry.
I've done it. I've done that a couple times, like just to try to lose weight, and it's hard. It's hard. It takes a lot of energy to eat like that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a lot of cooking and a lot of meals.
Yeah. Oh, I'm impressed.
Well, it is coming up on midnight here on East Coast time.
Yes.
I'm having a great time with this conversation. This has been really awesome. I know we talked about potentially having some art games and stuff to do. Maybe we can do at some point a follow up stream and just have fun playing
Oh, for
around
sure. Yeah,
code
let's play
drawing.
art games. I'm
Um,
around usually.
but probably we'll start wrapping up here. Also, to respect your time as well. Thank you for coming and hanging out for so long. This has been really great.
Oh yeah, no, I've really enjoyed myself. It's a
Frank has
treat.
Lily been a bad dog? Sorry, I was noticing.
Oh, bad dog.
By the
Puppies.
way, Frank makes all of the emotes that he uses for his channel, so he's quite
What?
the emote artist as well.
That is cool. That's a
Imagine
cute puppy.
promising art games and not doing them. I know. Sorry, guys.
Terrible. All right, well, we'll just have to come back and do it another time.
We'll
It's
have to come
fine.
back and do it. Yeah, absolutely. I am actually really enjoying this format and just hanging out and talking about art and creating and all of it and life in general. Um,
Yeah, me too. It gives me my fix. I was doing a lot of online Dungeons and Dragons for a while, and
ooh,
my
fun.
group has kind of waned. because children and life and stuff. But yeah, no, this kind of scratches the itch of being
So
social at nighttime.
what did you play? What was your character?
Oh, let's see. We did a couple different campaigns. Technically, we were playing Pathfinder, not Dungeons and Dragons. If we're gonna be real about it. The most recent one was a different kind of TTRPG, and my friend, our like game designer, had made it a cheese world. It was like a world where all the currency was built on cheese, and like, but cheese had gotten scarce, and it was just like it was all cheese puns, and I was a cheese beauty queen who was like a brawler. I wasn't really beautiful. It's like I was supposed to be the beauty queen in the family, but I turned out to be like a stupid brawler, and I was just like beating people up and shaking people down for money. That was my most recent one. I've had some. Let's see. Gosh, now I'm trying to remember that first campaign. Who I
Frank,
was.
did you just roll a natural 20? Holy moly! Also, I'm not
All
100
right,
years old.
you win.
Fun fact: Frank likes to come in here and call me old, and
Oh,
I was
well,
telling my daughter about this, and she responded with, "Well, why don't you just call him old?" And so now there's a beef between Frank and my daughter about who's actually old.
it was
And it's
actually
good
old.
times.
That's my kid the other night was like, we were watching Back to the Future 2 with some childless friends of ours, his like auntie and uncle. And he was like, "Well, how old are you guys? Like 28 or something?" And we were all just like, "What are you talking about?" Like we are older than that, and I think you know that. But it was just very funny to remember that when you're 9, like 28 and 45, they all kind of mean the same thing.
Yeah, yeah, it's really true. It's funny. But the D&D conversation, I only started playing the actual game about a year ago. Our library, which shout outs to the Orange County library system, they're incredible. Yeah, they started like a family campaign, so my daughter and I will go and play every other week and join in the campaign.
Nice.
It's been a lot of fun. I played a lot of
So my
D&D
kid, that's
adjacent
actually how I
stuff.
got into it too. Is my kid started playing with a friend of mine, and then that DM was like, "Oh, let's do it for grown-ups too." So,
Yeah, it's a blast. I really love it, and like I realized like I played a lot of D&D adjacent things. Like back when I was in high school, we had a MUD, so a multi-user domain. It was text only, everything. I played a lot of that with friends, and it was basically D&D, but over a server.
yeah,
I was amazed that I never got into it. But anyway, we can talk about D&D another time. That was, as you probably
for
know, my
sure.
comic was about that for the anthology.
Yes,
Actually,
absolutely. I'm running a D&D campaign for a bunch of little, turns out, neurodivergent little boys in the neighborhood. They all come home on the bus and then come over to my house on Mondays, and we play, or they argue with me about the rules. So I'm having to try to figure out how to get them to stop arguing with me about the rules and just like have fun.
you're the
So,
DM. They can't. What the DM says goes, right?
oh, well, that's what I said. I was like, "Listen." I was like, "We have been spending way too much time with you trying to argue with me and me getting irritated, so I'm going to start ignoring you, and I'm going to reward you if you do something funny." And so they started doing something funny this week instead of just being pedantic about the rules. And we had pirates with fart-powered chainsaws, and
Oh, that's
that was pretty.
incredible.
That
I
was
love
pretty.
it.
It was because there were chainsaws going in the neighborhood, and they were irritating the crap out of me. So, so I added them to the pirates that were already in the game. But yeah. So,
Oh, that's excellent. I love that.
um, but yes, we can talk about D&D another time for sure. I've been enjoying learning how to DM.
Yeah, so my daughter's actually learning how to DM right now. Like she actually saved up she got saved up to get the monster manual. She had gotten
Nice.
the Dungeon Master's Guide as a gift, like around Christmas time. And yeah, so she's getting ready to run a game for her friends, like over summer break. It's pretty impressive.
That's awesome. My kid wrote his first campaign recently. I kind of vaguely knew this, but didn't fully understand it. Apparently, there's standardized tests in their school. They type their essay sections instead of handwrite them. And
Really?
but the school has not taught the children how to type. So my kid was having all this anxiety around writing because he's been a slow writer. He has a little bit of trouble with it, and then And then apparently these like timed tests where he has to type his answers were giving him a lot of trouble. And so when I found out that they're supposed to type, but they didn't teach him how to type, I sat down and I was like, oh, do you want to make a D&D campaign? You tell me and I'll type it. And he had so much fun when he was able to just like dictate the stuff and not have to worry about the mechanics of getting the words on the page. So that was fun. I hope, hopefully he will learn how to type and be able to do it himself. But for now, I can type.
That's awesome. I feel like it's such a good like creative exercise to develop that. Like you're building a world, like, and let the kid like dive in. Honestly, I feel like if I'm more the artist in our team, but if I were developing a story fully, like for a longer graphic novel or a series, I might approach it almost like create a world I could run a D&D game in, and then pick a story that goes through that world.
Absolutely. Because then it gives you the sense of all the things that are off in the corners that you haven't seen yet, which is a good feeling for a story.
Yeah, I love it. Like that's Colleen A.F. Venable when she gave the talk about world building for Kids Comics Unite.
That was such a good talk. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah. So if any of you see the Katie the Cat Sitter series, which is one of our family's favorite series.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Yeah, these ones here. There's 4 of them currently, and I believe
my kid bought the 4th one with his own money. That's how much he loved them.
Oh, that's awesome! I love it. And they're so good, and she does that so well with the world building of just like there's all sorts of things happening. Like the story plays out in an environment that is its own character. Yeah, her comedy is excellent. Oh my gosh.
Yes. I had to go back and reread them after watching that and her talking about all the little Easter eggs and the repetitious things that she'd built in. I like went back and reread them, and my kid's like, why are you reading those again? I was like, well, there's all kinds of secret stuff, and he was like, where? So then he was, of course had to take them from me and do it himself, which was fine.
So I think we've come to the end of this journey.
All right.
Thank you for having the I'll say auspicious distinction of being the first guest on this stream. It's been
Thank you for inviting me. It's been a blast.
Happy to have you.
I'll come back anytime. Yeah, just let me know whenever you want to guest again. Let me know and I'll come hang out.
Yes, it's a deal, 100%. So I'm just gonna say a couple things to wrap up, and then if you wanna, I'll give you a chance to say anything you want. Yeah, so thanks everybody for joining. I know we had some of the kids comics community here. It's been awesome having you guys join us and chat. Thank you, Frank. You are an awesome mod, and I appreciate you being here. Frank and I were actually working on a collaborative comic in Magma last week, and we'll be getting back to that at some point in the near future as well. Frank, do you want to throw your Instagram out there in the chat for anybody who wants to see your comics? I really enjoy Frank's stuff. It's got a really good like Sunday Funnies vibe to it. Good all ages type of stuff. So, yeah, Frank, if you wanna throw your handle in there, please do. But also for anybody watching this, either who's been lurking here, this is always a lurk positive environment. I'm never going to call you out. Also, if you're watching the video on demand on YouTube or here on Twitch, I hope you had a fun time hanging out with us, listening to the conversation. Feel free to drop a like, follow, subscribe, any of those things. Leave a comment with any questions and I'll try to get back to you. But mainly, I just appreciate you being here. And I plan on being back next Thursday is actually May 1st. And it's going to be interesting because I'm going to have a 3:30 p.m. stream with César Lador coming to us live from France. And we'll be chatting more about Anthology stuff. And then I am debating, I may also still stream at my usual time because what else am I going to do at 10 p.m. on a Thursday night? So, oh, nice. There we go. Also, if you want to follow Frank, you're welcome to do that. Here on Twitch, he streams a lot of the video game Dead by Daylight, if you're familiar, but also he will often be drawing comics while he's in the lobby there, waiting for games.
Nice.
So next Thursday, 3:30 p.m. Eastern time, and then most likely also 10 p.m. And then there's a chance I'm working out some scheduling right now for possibly doing a stream Saturday afternoon as well. We might be bringing Bert on over to chat, who is here in the chat with us today, to talk about his anthology experience as well. So kind of exciting time here on the channel. It's been a lot of fun doing some of this new stuff, trying out new formats, and having friends on. That is all I've got. Sarah, if you want to get any last words in, tell people where they can find you, please go ahead.
Yeah, I'm all over the place. I'm on my website is saraesteinberg.com, and if you backslash that to links, there's pretty much all my stuff, including my goofy little journal comics and my kids' books. And maybe next time when I come on, we can play with on next Thursday, May 1st. I'm doing a live event at my kids' school doing mini science zines, so maybe I can come and show you how some of those turned out next time I pop on. Show you how the kids
awesome.
did.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been great to be here and love to come back sometime.
All right. Well, very good. If that's everything, then thank you again, Sarah, for being here. It's been fun. We'll definitely need to do this again. Thank you everyone else for being here. And I forgot to load my stream ending graphic, so I'm just going to click on that and let it load while I just talk endlessly for a second. Like I do every single week. You'd think I would get it down at some point, but yeah. Well, thank you, Sarah, for putting your link in the chat. It was really confusing to say for a second.
Links link, I know, yeah.
There we go. All right, well, very good. I think that wraps it up, guys. Thank you again, everybody. Have a wonderful night, and we'll see you real soon. Bye.
Night, everybody.